The day Daniel got promoted, he called his father. His father sounded proud. His friends congratulated him. His colleagues took him out for drinks. That night, he ordered expensive takeout, sat on the floor of his new apartment, and felt absolutely nothing. Not happiness, not relief, not even exhaustion, just nothing. He stared at the ceiling for a long time. Then he did what most people do when something feels wrong but they can't explain it. He told himself it would pass. It didn't. And what Daniel discovered over the next 3 years changed the way he understood everything, including himself. This is that story, and somewhere in it, you might find yours. The first thing Daniel tried was the most obvious explanation. Maybe I'm just not successful enough yet. So he worked harder, longer hours, bigger goals, more discipline. Within 2 years, he had doubled his salary. He bought the car. He took the trips. By every external measure, Daniel was winning. And yet every Sunday evening, that hollow feeling returned, sitting quietly in his chest like an uninvited guest that refused to leave. One night, he called his best friend. "I think something's wrong with me," he said. His friend laughed, not meanly, just the laugh of someone who couldn't quite believe what he was hearing. "You have everything, man," he said. "I know," Daniel said quietly, "and that's exactly the problem." His friend didn't know what to say, neither did Daniel. So he reached the conclusion most people reach at this point. Maybe success itself is the problem. Maybe ambition is hollow. Maybe achievement is meaningless. He started reading about minimalism, about quitting, about escaping. So he took 3 months off. No goals, no productivity, no performing. And for about 6 weeks, the emptiness faded. Then, quietly, it came back. Which meant the problem wasn't success. And it wasn't the absence of success either. So what was it? Daniel started therapy. Not because he was falling apart, but because he was tired of carrying a question he couldn't answer alone. His therapist asked him something that stopped him cold. When was the last time you made a decision based purely on what you wanted? Not what made sense, not what others expected, but what you genuinely, deeply wanted. Daniel opened his mouth to answer, then closed it. He couldn't remember. And this is where most videos would say, "You're living the wrong life. Find your true path." It sounds right. It feels right. Daniel believed it too. He spent a year chasing what he thought was his real passion, took courses, started projects, changed direction 3 times. He even started a business, something creative, something that felt like him. It failed within 8 months, not dramatically, just quietly ran out of energy. And the emptiness was still there. So what was actually going on? Here's where Daniel's story gets strange. The more he examined his inner life, the more distant it felt, like watching himself from across the room. His therapist gave this a name: depersonalization. Not a disorder, just a pattern. When you spend years overriding your inner experience, pushing through, optimizing, performing, the connection between you and your own emotional life slowly weakens. You stop feeling things fully, not because you're broken, because you trained yourself not to. One evening, after a session, Daniel sat in his car in the parking lot for 40 minutes, not crying, not thinking clearly, just sitting. He said later, "I realized I had spent 30 years learning to be productive. I had never spent a single day learning to be present." Here's what 3 years of Daniel's story finally revealed. The emptiness wasn't caused by too much success. It wasn't caused by the wrong career. It wasn't even caused by disconnection from his feelings. It was caused by a gap. A gap between who Daniel actually was and the version of himself he'd been showing the world. Not a dramatic gap, not a lie, just a slow, quiet drift. Saying yes when he meant no. Staying silent when something needed to be said. Choosing the safe option so many times that the honest option started to feel dangerous. Carl Jung called this the shadow. The parts of yourself you bury so deep, you forget they exist. But the mind never truly forgets. It keeps a record, and that record shows up as a feeling you can't explain. Daniel told his therapist this one afternoon. She didn't seem surprised. "I know," she said simply. "I've been waiting for you to see it." He laughed, a real laugh, for the first time in a long time. "How long have you known?" he asked. "Since our third session," she said. "When you couldn't remember the last time you made a decision that was truly yours." So what did Daniel do? He didn't quit everything again. He didn't find a new passion. He started telling the truth. In small ways at first, saying no to the things that drained him. Saying yes to the things that felt real, even when they didn't make sense on paper. He stopped performing confidence and started practicing honesty. Some relationships got harder. Some conversations became uncomfortable. And slowly, not dramatically, not overnight, the gap began to close. 3 years after that night on the floor of his apartment, Daniel called his father again. This time, he had no big news, no promotion, no achievement, no milestone. He just called to talk, and somewhere in that ordinary conversation, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not happiness exactly. Something quieter. Something that felt, for the first time in a long time, like coming home. The emptiness you feel isn't a flaw. It isn't weakness. It isn't ingratitude. It's the distance between who you are and how you've been living. And that distance, no matter how long it's existed, can always be closed. One honest moment at a time. One real decision at a time. One conversation where you finally say what you actually mean. The emptiness isn't the end of something. It's the beginning of you coming back to yourself. And that is worth every uncomfortable step it takes to get there. If something in this felt true, save it, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe, because this is just the beginning.